What's up guys, Abe here. Another day, another broken decks in Shadowverse. Today, I want to talk about a deck that is very infamous for being obnoxious, consistent, and straight up broken by some standards. A deck that can do anything that every deck can do in a single turn. A deck that is somewhat popularized by a lucksacked player who got 40 win streak with this deck. Resonance Portalcraft is a deck that shines again in Roar of the Godwyrm since Magna Zero got rotated out, but now it's different. Resonance Portalcraft utilizes the resonance mechanic to its fullest now. The deck really shines after the new cards from Roar of the Godwyrm came out. The deck is too good. Too good that it's very annoying to play against, both in rotation and unlimited. Why is that? Let's get into it. We're going to talk about this deck in both rotation and unlimited format. Though Resonance archetype are played differently between this format, they both have the same Resonance game plan. We're going to talk about Resonance in a perception before the balance patch, where there is a couple of cards that got nerfed. Now, first off, rotation Resonance Portalcraft. Personally, I haven't played or play against this deck in rotation in the first few days. I was grinding unlimited during these times. So I asked several players on what they think about Resonance Portalcraft. There are many cases and arguments that are made, and after I have conversation and discussions with them, I conclude that there are three main things that makes Resonance Portalcraft super strong in the meta. 1. Resonance Portalcraft is overly versatile. 2. Resonance Portalcraft has an obnoxious board presence. 3. Resonance Portalcraft is consistent and less likely to break. First, overly versatile. The deck has tools that can make them draw cards, tempo swing, and make a strong board presence in a single turn. They have heals, they have protection, and they also have a good amount of face damage bursts, and ends the game with a finisher that basically can ignore enemy wards and potentially play other cards as well in that turn if the damage isn't enough. If they can snowball early game, it would be game over. Kasim, the Courageous, is one of the core reasons it happens. He can build a board, remove a board, and pushing face damage at the same time at the most flexible cost of 2 play points. Kasim is also one of the reasons of our next main thing that makes Resonance Portalcraft super strong in the meta, which is they have an obnoxious board presence. You must have felt it before, when your opponent has a very good board building combo and you already have plans on what to evolve into and trade into, and then suddenly they play a Bellringer Angel and you just go But in Resonance Portalcraft, it's not just Bellringer Angel. Kasim with his effect is definitely a follower you don't want to let it stay alive. And then we have a couple more, such as Yuan and Rosa, Unfettered Maiden. You don't want Kasim to stay because he can board wipe you while pushing face. Yuan also does the same, but not AoE. And then we have Rosa, that could summon Kasim when evolve. And then they also put down Bellringer Angel to stop trades. And it doesn't stop there. You would have Automachina Maiden invoke in the mid game when they have 10 Resonance active. Now, you have cards that loops each other, basically a 6 copies of each of them, a card that can burst your face, a Ding Dong, and a 4/5 ward. Good luck clearing that on turn 6. Wish you have Marwyn like Heaven does, don't you? Well, you're dead anyway. Having the need to clear these kinds of board because on turn 5 or 6, then the potential threat of lethal on turn 7 is just too obnoxious, and all of this happening consistently because of our next reasons of main things that make Resonance super strong in the meta, which is consistency and less likely to break. The deck consists of a bunch of cards that, to put it into detail, put a card in your deck and then draw a card, a Mystic Ring effect. This action effectively activates Resonance once, so other than drawing cards at the start of your turn or drawing cards with card effects in general to make you go Resonance, these cards manipulate Resonance immediately when they activate their effects, making them go 10 Resonance easily by turn 5 or turn 6. Then, the Mystic Ring effect is also responsible for being an anti-break effect, since it basically mulligan cards you don't need and draw something else you might need. The Mystic Ring effect is also a -1 hand size, so you don't really afraid of discarding cards from overdrawing. So you are fine with having a couple of cards that can draw you more cards at the same time. Other than the -1 hand size, the Mystic Ring effect is basically a card recycling tool without removing the card permanently, unlike the discard effect. So, Resonance has a tool that makes them build a board, wipes a board, pushing face damage, draws a card, and recycling all in a single card even. Their versatility and strength make this deck super popular in the meta, though you need a little bit of learning to play it effectively. Resonance Porocraft is a high tier 1 in the meta before it got nerfed. The nerf in particular is Flame and Glass Duality nerf. Now I understand this nerf a little bit, because the meta before the nerf has some pretty underrated decks that are super strong in the meta as well. If you nerf the Resonance tool in a Resonance deck, they will certainly be weaker than any other decks. And if they do get weaker, then we'll have a Flame and Glass Shadowcraft meta for another expansion. No. After the nerf, the deck actually slows down, but they do still have the strong turn 6 Resonance into Maiden's Play. But right now, the deck has some identity crisis where they don't know which cards to bring as their finisher. At least now there are more diversity in the meta, and there are some underrated decks that claims their spot in the meta. And that's all there is to say about Rotation Resonance. The deck is super obnoxious, but not very broken per se. It's very consistent and versatile during its prime time, but it's still strong now, even after the nerf, and still very obnoxious to play against if they high roll you. Now, let's get to Unlimited. For this one, let's prepare ourselves for a little bit. Okay, now that we're prepared, Unlimited broke again. So the problem with Unlimited Resonance Porocraft is, do you remember the days of old school Unlimited artifacts with 3 acceleration? And all you do is trade with the enemy board getting Shadow to make Path of Purgatory active, or do a Radiant artifact OTK. Now, you don't need to trade or have varieties of artifacts, because the new card from Roar of the Godwyrm, Robopop, is a card that can destroy your own board. It's also an artifact, so you can make more copies of them with biofabrications, then loop them with Augmentation Bestowal. Drawing cards to get more Robopop, drawing too much cards that you burn cards, and then boom, 30 shadows. Not only that, the Robopop loop also works very well with Chasm, where you can loop Robopop to activate Resonance so Chasm effect activates. The combo works so well where you can potentially kill your opponent just by killing your Robopops with Augmentation active. And the best thing is, you can do this as fast as turn 3. If a deck can do that kind of combo that fast, you know that shit is broken, and of course, nerf is certain to come. Now, before I explain more, let me tell you a story. As you guys know, a few weeks ago I've uploaded this video before on my YouTube channel. It's sarcastically titled to highlight what made me win the game and how oppressive it is. And it doesn't receive very well. People kinda hates that I avoid the fact that I win with something else, which is understandable. I mean, I kinda clickbaited that title and thumbnail. But hey, I'm a YouTuber. Clickbaiting is part of the grind, so don't hate me for that. Now, with the nerf coming, I'm a little bit skeptical. I feel like this isn't enough. And turns out, it isn't enough after all. Post-nerf, I managed to get Grandmaster with Resonance Porocraft in Unlimited, with astounding win rate as well. So you know what I do next? I go to Reddit. You know, I kind of make this post pretty mockingly, you know? Kind of like a little bit of a trolling, you know, on my part. And of course, it's not very well received as well. But there is a little bit of seriousness in this post. You see, I really do feel like that Augmentation limit was not enough of a nerf to this deck. There is one comment that really triggers me. It's this one. You see, I kinda agree on the Augmentation part, but calling the post-nerf Resonance Tier 2, it seems like they never played the Unlimited format. And just hating on Augmentation because of a grudge a long time ago maybe? It seems very uneducated. So, to prove a point, I grinded to top 100 unlimited rank ladder with the same deck that I posted in this Reddit post. And so I grinded and I grinded and I grinded and I grinded and grinded even more, and I finally got it. I also got a high number of win streaks a couple of times with this deck. So I don't think this is tier 2, buddy. This is definitely a high tier 1, a nearly tier 0 even, because this deck can win against any deck. I'm sure of that. If augmentation limit is really enough for this deck to go down, then I guess I'll just abuse this shit for the next 3 years. Because no one complains about this shit again, right? Look, if I come across as trying to defend augmentation bestowal from getting nerfed, you might be right a little bit. You see, augmentation bestowal is a card that makes artifact top tiers for the last 2 to 3 years now. It all started with Xion Mercurial Aegis buff, and then the deck gets much more support in the next coming expansions, and then comes to the point where acceleration get limited, and then here we are now where augmentation bestowal got limited. So I have been in that phase of 4 stages of grief, like where I'm angry, then I'm sad, then I'm in denial, and then finally I accept it. I joined the gang, and then I win with that gang. I win a lot. Of course, I come to love this deck, and then they suddenly wouldn't let me play it anymore. It's just pretty disappointing, I guess. That's my personal opinion. It's like a Stockholm Syndrome to a card. Being a hostage of this brokenness for 2 to 3 years, you accept them and love them. Now, as the abuser of augmentation as bestowal, I am self-aware that they will nerf this card sooner or later. But this nerf is actually not enough to slow down Resonance Porocraft in Unlimited. The deck is still super strong when you barely even play augmentation and acceleration, so I'm really still skeptical about this limitation of augmentation bestowal. They should have done more. I believe so. I believe they can do that. And that's, I think, all I can say about Unlimited Resonance Porocraft. TLDR, the deck is broken, augmentation nerf, and the deck is still broken. And that's it for this video. Leave a comment on your thoughts about this topic. And thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you haven't already. More content coming soon, so stay tuned. And I'll see you guys next time.